Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the July 13th, 2021 regularly scheduled Sewer Commission meeting. Under normal circumstances, we have a roll call before we begin our night, and we'll start with our Selectmen's representative.
Sure. Chet Bowen, Select Board Rep.
Michael Trank with Hoyle Tanner and Associates.
Daniel Taylor, Sewer Commissioner.
Tim Redmond, Commissioner.
And David Pierce, the Commissioner.
Lynn Pooler, Sewer Secretary.
Corey White, Sewer Foreman.
Thank you very much, everyone. Thank you for attending. By our agenda, our first item on the agenda is public comment, and we have some folks here who would like to speak at public comment. Please identify yourself for the record when you're ready to start.
Dana Benner, 12 Joffrey Street. Thanks for letting me speak. I appreciate it. We're here because, originally we were here because of the proposed laundromat that was going in on Mast Road at the corner of Mast and Hague. We were under the impression that they were going to be here per the last instructions that Mr. Redmond made to them at the planning board. That's the planning board, I'm sorry. Obviously they're not here, but we still wanted to voice our opinion on this situation. Our main concern is multifaceted, but regarding Sewer Commission only, it is the amount of water that this proposed laundromat is going to generate, adding into the existing lines that run down Mast Road. Hague Street, Joffrey Street, all the streets there also drain into that same line. There has been a lot of new construction, new businesses added into that line. And I do understand that there has been an update to the line in that section on Mast Road. I do realize that. But the car wash alone generates a lot of water going into that system. Our street, Joffrey Street alone, has had 5 or 6 issues with residential lines going into the line on Joffrey Street, which then again dumps into the main line on Mast Road. Our concern is the amount of water that's going in there and what kind of effect is that going to have on the residential population on our lines. Yes, the main line on Mast Road has been updated, replaced, repaired, whatever it is. I'm not an engineer or a sewer guy, but those other lines have not. The runs running up Joffrey Street, I've been there for 35 years. No one's replaced the line on Joffrey Street. So those are the old lines feeding into the new line, yet we're increasing the amount of use into the new line on Mast Road. Is there a fail-safe to protect the residential lines? If something should happen with the car wash, with the laundromat, whatever the case may be, dumping that much water into a line, add to that the amount of rain, look at the rain that we had and that running into the sewer system and into lines. I don't know if it affects that line or not. I see Mr. Pierce shaking his head. And I'm willing to stand corrected. I'm just expressing my concern that we could experience some kind of failure if when all the stars line up and the moon lines up and everything else and something happens, we're going to get the brunt of it. And it's the fact that the study was not done prior to now, and Mr. Redmond has expressed that just a few minutes ago about if it can't take it, then it doesn't need to go any further. But again, I'm not an expert at that. That's what you guys are here for. But we're really concerned about that, the impact it may have on the aquifer, the drainage system that runs down across the rail trail into the river. I mean, there's all sorts of things that could happen if something does malfunction, whether to the residents, to the environment, whatever. And that's our concern, and we hope that you all folks take that into consideration when you're making your decision for that type of thing.
Just so you know, we don't have an application in front of us, but your comments have been duly recorded.
I appreciate it.
Thank you for coming in.
Thank you.
Just agree with him.
Thank you, Katie. All right, then, is there any other one who wants to speak here on public comment tonight? Okay, seeing none, we'll go to our first item is approval of the minutes from September 17th, 2019. Lynn provided them this evening.
Oh, what? Wait, that's not right. Approval of minutes.
September.
I,
Yeah,
that's
the wrong
what I
date.
just said.
Why am I not
June
reading that?
8th, 2021.
Where did you get this agenda, Lynn?
I typed it up.
So let's stand corrected for June 8th.
2021.
I even read it without even thinking about it. 2019. Maybe this was a cut and paste from
I
an old
might have, I
agenda.
might have done that, yes.
Okay. So, I stand corrected, June 8th of 2021. I had a chance to look at them before the meeting, and if you'd like to delay them to another meeting, we can delay them if everyone hasn't had a chance to read the minutes. We don't have to rush through them.
I've already read them online.
Okay. Waiting for Dave to finish up.
I take it that was a motion to,
All right, so if we need,
Approve the minutes,
we would need a
so,
motion.
based on
Daniel?
Dan offering a motion, I'll
He
second
didn't-
it.
I'll,
He didn't
a
actually make a
motion to
motion, so-
approve the meetings as presented.
Okay, motion to accept the minutes as presented. Seconded, made by Daniel, seconded by Dave. Any discussion on the minutes? Seeing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Abstentions? The minutes pass. We have a new business item tonight. We have an application, a request to be heard from Marlene Gammons. She owns a property on Pleasant Street. So I'd invite Marlene, and she has Brandon with her, to come up and identify yourselves for the record. And they have provided us with a drawing. Corey has provided us with a drawing here. This drawing, just before you guys get started, this was a drawing that Mike Yurgo prepared quite a while ago. I don't know what the date is on it, but it shows this property that they're going to speak about having a proposed sewer pump line that would come out the driveway and then have to run up Pleasant Street to the manhole, which is up the road a ways. And Corey can tell us what the approximate distance is from the property corner to that manhole.
It's 208 feet.
208? So it's approximately 208 feet of excavation in the road to get to the manhole. So everybody clear on that before we get started? Okay, could you just let us know who you are, please, first?
I'm Brandon Nault from Uncanonic Trucking and Excavating.
And I'm Marlene Gammons.
Thank you both.
So we're here tonight to ask for a waiver. Instead of going all the way up Pleasant Street, they already have an existing sewer pump station on their other property. And it's just, we're asking if we can come all the way up. You can see where the proposed driveway is. The sewer pump line runs down the side of the driveway. And instead of getting out on Pleasant Street, we'd like to go cross lots by the proposed tree, through the parking lot to the existing sewer pump station. That's been all installed, and I think it was, when was it? 88. It was there. It's all set. I mean, it'll handle this one property to that pump station.
Is that a private pump station or a town pump station?
It's a private pump station.
Okay, private.
Is it just a single pump?
In the existing pump
Yeah.
station, yes. We'd be putting a pump on the existing house down to pump all the way up to that.
And then that pump station would in turn pump then
Pump it to the
sewer
town
manhole.
sewer manhole, which is 208 feet up the road.
Brandon, it would be gravity fed into the pump, the private pump station?
It's a force main from the house, the existing
Okay.
house
Oh, I see.
down So
I
the
see it.
elevation change there is,
I
Yep.
see it. Says,
Okay.
says pump station.
Yep.
So we'll be pumping, so the proposal is to add a new pump station at the existing house, pump the effluent. Is it effluent and solids or just
no,
effluent?
just
only?
effluent. So it'd be a 2-compartment tank. So it'd be a 1,250 gallon tank and then a 400 gallon pump chamber on that side. So it'd pump strictly liquid all the way up
To the
to
private pump
to
station?
the existing private pump station on their property.
And then that pump station would,
That pump station will pump to the town sewer.
okay. Make sure everybody understood what's going on. Anybody have any discussion on this request? I'll open to the commissioners, Corey, Selectman's Rep, and Mike Trank, everyone.
In looking at this, obviously we know in our regulations, it states that you have to come out your frontage. But in this case, it's kind of, when you look at digging 208 feet up the main street, and it's not like the manhole's on the edge of the road or something like that. They're gonna have to dig across the street because the manhole is in the opposite lane. I would think that it's a better option for everybody involved if this stayed on the property and not bother digging into a road that was paved like 8 years ago and putting a massive patch in it.
So with this proposal, I'm assuming you'd have to grant an easement from 34-43A to have a right to cross that land to get to the pump station to bring the sewer to that,
Yes.
so that in case they ever had to access that line.
Be
Right.
nothing built above.
And that would be, have to be assigned to the deed, right? It'd have to be assigned to the deed.
Yep.
Okay. Because there's always the chance that the two properties could be sold separately. I mean, we have to consider that. May not
Yes.
be in anybody's plan right now, but you just have to consider that when you make these types of decisions. All right.
Since, in the existing pump station, since there's no redundancy, what sort of safety contingencies, if that pump fails, another one,
There's
Pumps.
there should be a
What's
high
the-
level alarm in that existing pump station. So
Okay.
even if that pump fails right now, it'll feed back to their building right there with an alarm going off, say the pump's failed, the water's higher than the inlet, the outlet, so it doesn't go running back. So that thing should have a high level alarm on that pump station,
If
the
it,
existing.
if it does not,
If it does
You'll
not,
have to
we can
install
install one. That's not a deal breaker at all. I mean, they're pretty simple to put in there.
Yeah.
and then the other one has an alarm as well, right? The
It
new one
will
you're-
have one, yes, for that existing house. That's the 3443A1. That'll have its own separate pump, alarm, and all that stuff.
What is the present situation at that house right now? Just
There is
briefly.
a failed septic system that is there right now. So they need to do something ASAP with this sewer line. And yeah, this is the best situation.
Okay. Commissioners? Engineer? Selectman's rep?
Probably just need to verify the pump, the existing pump.
In the pump chamber.
Yeah, just to make sure
Just
it's
to
big
make
enough.
sure it's big enough.
Yep.
Yeah, and we didn't pop the cover, so I can pop the cover and we can verify that pump, or
Yeah.
I can go out there with Corey and we can look at it, and if it needs to be changed, we'll change that as well.
and
Yep.
If
just
you
make
want
sure
it
it's
up
big
to,
enough. Yep.
yeah,
verify like the size, capacity, if you'll probably,
I'll be able
might
to
have to
tell.
adjust any existing alarm levels.
You know, you don't want to do that. You can't.
Well, I mean,
You're not going to adjust
on
it.
your other,
The other
so
one.
you're not short cycling, or so you're not over.
Right.
The
Yeah, I
existing
mean,
one.
yeah, but we're not gonna touch the alarm in that tank because it's set for the inlet of that existing building. So that way it'll never overpower it.
That makes sense.
So I'm just writing down what I think is the wording we need to use if we're going to discuss a waiver here. So if I'm correct, you folks are asking for a waiver from our regulations that requires you to exit the front of the site and to allow 3443A1 to pump to 3443A and provide necessary easements for construction and maintenance. Does that cover it, Corey, you think?
Yep.
Dave, you think that's good?
Yep, I'm fine with it.
All right, so since I generally don't make motions, I'm gonna let Dave read the motion if we are done discussing it. Do we have any more discussion on the matter? Or are we all in agreement that this is a good solution to a bad problem? I don't see any, and you do understand there will be a $5,000 accessibility fee required to be paid to the sewer commissioners for allowing you to join into the sewer system. And then there'll be an annual charge. What is the annual charge? What is that, two-bedroom house?
200, it's usually $200.
Well, you have it-
It's a single-family home,
Yep.
then it would be $200 twice a year, $400 a year.
Okay, so you understand the charges involved. Okay.
Just one question.
Yes, sir, Michael.
What an easement were you planning on?
For the access for
For the
this,
force main?
you're gonna need the size of a machine, so you probably need I would say at least an 8-foot easement, just in case, cause that's pretty sandy over there.
It's sandy.
And
I
to-
would say you probably want 15.
10 to 15.
You want 10 or
15.
15?
The width of the machine, what, 12 feet?
Yeah.
I inserted 15 for these, Dave. Okay, any other questions or suggestions from board members? Dave?
I'd like to make a motion, Mr. Chairman, that the applicant, let's see,
Marlene?
you have the properties on here.
Well, the applicant is Marlene.
A motion, yes, a motion for a waiver from our sewer regulations to
Exit.
to allow property 3443A1 to exit the front of their site and pump the sewage to an existing pump station on 43A. And furthermore, property 3443A would provide a 15-foot wide easement to allow the construction and maintenance to run with the deed of that property.
Exit the front of the site or side?
No, they want to come up here to the front
Oh,
and then cut
it's a
across.
waiver from the front.
It's a waiver from the
Waiver from the
requirement.
regulation that requires the line to exit the front.
Yes.
Okay.
I second.
Okay, the motion's been made and seconded. Any discussion on the motion? All right, seeing none, we'll call for a vote. All those in favor say aye.
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 Opposed? Abstentions? Passes unanimously.
Okay.
So you'll need to contact the sewer department to obtain a permit for this, just for there's no actual street opening permit or anything, it's just to actually
Just a connection permit.
make the connection permit, and then you can work out the details with them, and it's all on private property. Is there an inspection actually from us?
Yep.
Okay, so we'll be inspecting.
Okay.
You have to check with Corey for inspections.
Yeah, I'll schedule with Corey and all that stuff.
He'll
We'll
handle
have a
it.
plan together for you,
Yep.
so you can
Yep.
go over it and, yeah.
And then when the easement is recorded, it would be good for the file if you could provide us with the documents so that Corey could make the file complete, since it was a requirement on the motion.
Yep.
That we would get a copy of the
The easement will go
the
with the
deed.
parcel file.
Yeah, it goes with the parcel file.
Yep.
And we'll send that, and we'll copy that to building department as well,
Mhm.
so they have it in their file. So you're all set, folks?
All right, thank you.
Thank you very much. Thanks for coming in.
Thank you.
Okay. We have old business to discuss tonight. I called Mike Trank and asked him to give us some reports on what's going on, and he has done we have a lot of information in front of us, so I'm gonna turn this meeting over to Mike Trank.
Thank you. So first of all, the Lewis Street sewer replacement project is officially out to bid, publicly out to bid. It's on an electronic bidding site, so the contractors can go onto the site, download documents, and they'll actually be submitting their bids through that site electronically.
It went in the paper yesterday.
Okay.
Did the notice?
Paper, yeah.
Thank you.
Union Leader?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah, the bids documents were available last Friday. And the bids are due, and will be opened on August 4th, I think.
Okay.
Yeah, it's a Wednesday. And so far, there are 3 contractors that have taken out plans and specs. So we're hoping to get some interest. We did send out notification directly to probably a dozen or more contractors in the area. But what I did offer to Corey is if there's any other ones that you guys have worked with, we'd be happy to contact them too, just to make them aware of it.
Well, we've done our due diligence, and it's in the paper. Corey?
Oh, I was just gonna suggest, it was fantastic working with SUR West. I don't know if that was a company you contacted. They're the ones that did,
They were one of the 3.
oh, perfect.
Yeah.
Good, glad to hear that.
Yeah, American Excavating, and Grenice, and SUR West.
We've had Grenice bid in the past, and I don't think we've ever had American in the past, but I know SUR has bid in the
Yeah.
past.
Yeah.
It's kind of a good year because a lot of state contracts didn't go out, and a lot of the big contractors are actually looking for work this year, so hopefully we'll see some competitive numbers.
Yeah.
We'll see how that goes. I know prices for everything else is up on
Prices,
Yeah.
yeah,
Pike.
right.
All right, Mike, sorry to interrupt.
Nope, that's fine. Any questions?
No, right now, we're very pleased that we got this thing out to bid finally. It's been a long haul, and I'm pleased that we're there, and it's out to bid. I don't know how the other commissioners are about to speak, but I'm very happy.
I did send over, prior to this meeting, a draft of an amendment to our contract. Our current engineering services contract covers design and bidding.
Which project?
Lewis Street.
Lewis Street.
But it does not cover any construction phase services. So the assumption would be that, the lion's share of the inspection work would be done by Corey, but what I envisioned is that through this amendment to the contract, we could assist with things like, shop drawing submittal reviews, if and as needed, putting together the pre-construction meeting, running that meeting, addressing, any questions, comments, issues that come up during construction, make some periodic visits to the site, and then actually prepare record drawings for the project.
And we go to the second to last page, Mike, where the figures are, page 4. Those are not to exceed amounts? Those are
Yes,
not-
it's actual cost not to exceed.
So those are, it could be significantly less if we
Yes.
do less.
Correct.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
I haven't read the whole thing, but
Will this be known as Amendment 2 to the existing contract?
Amendment 1.
Okay.
I thought it was amendment 2.
It says on the last
you have
page.
total amendment 2.
I'm sorry, that's a typo.
That's a typo?
Yeah.
Where the 26,850 number is, that could be a 1,
Yes.
page 4? Well,
Anyway,
if the other commissioners would like to study this, we can discuss, we can have this.
Mr. Chair, this is a usual phase in all our projects
right.
that we
Right.
require to be done, right?
Right.
And
I don't have any,
it's a tad bit more than what you're able to do. Yes?
Some of it's a bit over my head.
Yeah, okay.
so then if it pleases the commissioners, we can have a motion on it, and we can sign it and return it tonight.
And, Mr. Chairman, I'd like to make a motion for the approval of Amendment 1 to the Lewis Street replacement project that's ongoing this year.
I will second.
For the amount not to exceed
Yes.
$26,850.
I will second that motion.
There is a revised total under that. On number
Where am I
1.
reading then?
Right here, this is a revised total.
Okay. Let me, motion then to, for the approval of Amendment 1 to the Lewis Street replacement project that's ongoing this year, and not to exceed $40,100.
Okay, the motion's been made by David, seconded by Daniel,
Second it.
to approve of the Amendment 1 to add construction phase engineering services for Lewis Street for not to exceed $40,100. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye. Aye.
Aye?
Opposed? Abstention? Michael, we can sign this tonight and give it back to you tonight and take it with you if you choose, or...
Thank you.
Whatever you want.
Actually, what I'd like to do is take draft off of it.
I saw the word draft up there.
Yeah, and correct amendment, it should be amendment.
So you want to clean it up and get it back to Lynn?
I'll send it over to
Yeah.
Yeah,
And then we'll sign it and get it back to you.
that sounds great.
Okay.
Thank you.
All right. I see more Hoyle Tanner papers in my pile.
Yeah, I sent over our report, our evaluation report for the structural evaluation of the Elm Street Pump Station, East Union Pump Station, and Riverview Park. So it's not actually a report, it's really a technical memorandum. So that has our findings, it presents our findings, and there's also recommendations for structural repairs for each of the 3 pump stations.
Tim, is there a budgetary issue that we need to consider that of these 3 projects, 1 or 2 may be more urgent than the others?
I agree with your statement that certainly the East Union Pump Station needs to be addressed as quick as we can. Elm Street Pump Station, I think we're going to probably wait on that a little bit because we were going to include that in our
That's,
overages on,
well, you can do that one of 2 ways. We could incorporate it into the plans and specs, since it hasn't actually been advertised for bids yet. Or, if you want, we could do it as a change order during construction.
I'd be happy with a change order. What do you think, Dave?
Explain, help me with what you mean by changeover.
So during construction, if the project owner wants to make a change to the scope of work, you would draw up, come up with a scope of what that change is and request pricing from the contractor. And then if you accept the pricing that he comes up with, you would execute what they call a change order, which officially changes the scope of work for the project for a given price.
Now that I think about that, I don't like it. Because that's going to,
You're already committed with a firm doing the initial construction, and then you're changing the scope of work
Right.
and asking for a
Which is
sole source.
Done frequently. But that said,
For something minor, I can understand that.
Yeah.
You know, change a door handle on a door.
yeah, it's pretty commonly done. Admittedly, if it's incorporated into the work up front, you're probably going to get better pricing that way.
Well, that's
than
what I was
doing
thinking.
it through a change order.
also it requires, it doesn't require another review by Hoyle Tanner to review the change order and all the other business.
No, we would actually probably put that change order together.
Because do you think, aren't they gonna be stripping all the rest of the vinyl off this building in the damaged area as part of this job?
Yes,
They're liable to find other issues that need to be addressed at the same time.
it's possible. Yeah.
So that's why I was curious on the commissioner's thoughts on that, because that's only one little small damaged area from a scrape. It's not, the building is not gonna fall down,
No.
but we still have to figure out what's under all the rest of the vinyl as part of this.
So Union Street is first priority.
I would
It
say.
must proceed. We have some slack time on Elm Street.
We do have a little slack time on Elm Street. And as far as Riverview goes, my thought is we need to, we'd be nice if we could at least have something moving on that, because we have winter coming, and the roof has been leaking in the past. So I'm trying to protect the building's internal mechanisms, if,
Yes.
other than just buying a blue tarp and putting a Vermont roof on the place. We had talked about getting a rubber roof contractor to come in and just put a temporary Band-Aid on the roof to bide time over the winter. Mike, if we were to try working on Riverview Pump Station, how long do you think that process would take to make a determination on what we're going to do down there and get something that's biddable? Is it another 3 to 5 months
For East Union,
for Riverview Park?
oh, Riverview, it shouldn't take much time at all. It's pretty simple. I mean, you're talking about replacing
The building.
a prefab building essentially, so I think it's really a question of trying to figure out what you'd like to have there versus what's there now.
Do we have the
And then
report?
I don't know, I guess it depends on your procurement regulations as to whether or not you actually have to get that out to bid, or if you can just solicit, pricing from, say, 3 contractors for the work.
We have requirements from finance, and there's thresholds for what we have to do.
Yeah.
We have to get 3 written bids. We don't have to do anything more than get 3 written bids, if I'm not mistaken. So if there were companies that specified in this type of work, we could request 3 bids and be within the parameters of the finance requirements in town. Doesn't necessarily have to be an RFP.
Yeah.
Now, have you done the investigatory work on whether the building's concrete footings can support a concrete
Yes, in
structure?
fact, part of the information
Okay, I
is,
haven't read it.
we've come up with our assessment of what the design capacity is.
Well,
The structural
Mike,
capacity.
you indicated on the last page, the foundation can support a structure weight of 120 pounds, assuming that all loads are equally distributed.
Is that per square foot or something?
120,000.
Yeah, 120,000 pounds.
Oh, you said 120,000, I'm sorry.
I left off the word thousand if that was important.
You left off the last 3
Details.
zeros.
Yeah, unfortunately,
Minor detail.
I do that with money too. And you said that if there was a new concrete structure, would weigh 115,000. But you estimated the weight of all that new structure based on 1 foot.
Yeah, no,
Well,
that's-
I can't
yeah,
I can't envision a
No.
concrete wall
I
being.
agree with you, it's
A
probably,
little overbuilt.
yeah, I agree with you, that's our structure.
So, if
yeah.
the wall was considerably thinner than
Yeah.
1 foot thick,
With
And,
with a prefab building, you're
we're not-
probably looking at more like, a 6-inch wall or something
Yes,
like that.
so the weight would be considerably lower than the
Yes, it would.
115, which would be
Yeah.
considerably less than the,
Yeah, this is a pretty
Adequate.
conservative number, so
Where's-
you've got capacity,
thank
is
you.
the point.
So the foundations is good, he says.
So procedurally, we are going to have a general contractor on this because the precast building manufacturers, even if they did the installation, the actual installation, all the equipment on the inside has to be removed and laid in. There's a lot of other work in the building that has to be done in order to remove the fiberglass building and accept the new building. So, and I don't think I really want our staff acting as a general contractor down there, trying to handle the electrician and the alarm company and the fan people. So, you have a recommendation on how we might proceed with getting this at least bid, or what our procedural might be, Mike?
Yeah, that's a good point. There's some electrical work that'll have to be done, panels that'll have to be disconnected and reconnected, lighting and that kind of thing. So, in light of that, it probably makes sense to put a plan together that's, bid ready, that you can solicit bids with, to get a general contractor to do the work.
I don't know that I want the general contractor buying the building and selling it to us. I'd like to try to work a deal out, and I use the word deal loosely, where we would be able to hire a general contractor that would agree to install the building of our choice,
Yeah, you could do that.
with the internal mechanisms being handled, but we would supply the structure and the company to install it, and their responsibility would be to handle all the rest of the details
Yeah.
on the job. Is that something we think we could pull off?
I could do that.
So, when I worked at precast company, we worked with towns and contractors, and both directly. One idea would be hire. You can, if you want to install everything new, like instead of just pulling existing I've never been inside the building, but instead of just pulling existing electrical off the wall and then reattaching it, you can go new, and that can be all installed at the precast facility.
A lot of it's gonna have to be new.
Well, we also have to maintain the facility while we're
Right.
operating.
Yeah,
Well,
the
here's
pumps
what
will
I'm
have to be kept up
getting
on.
at. So you can hire a contractor for demolition and installation and get that done in like a day.
Okay.
Because if everything's installed ahead of time at the precast facility, all they have to do is drive in, drop it, and then reconnect the.
We went, Daniel, we went down and looked at the building as a group, and we discovered that all of the electrical panels are on either EMT or Schedule 40 conduit coming up out of the floor. So all we have to do is disconnect the boxes and lean them in, and they would remain energized.
Yeah.
I know they're not real safe like that, but they could be protected. There's on the end of the building, all the pumps and valves are all right there. So when we looked at it, the best approach we looked at and discussed was the possibility of having an electrician come in and just lean the panels in, have the alarm company equipment leaned in so that it was free of the walls of the
Okay.
fiberglass building. Then we could have the building demoed, have the new building installed. Now we go to your suggestion. If we have if we have specifications for location of electrical boxes, then it is a short-term arrangement for the electrician to refeed the new panels and disconnect the old panels without any major interruptions in the service of the pump station down there. We could even have put it on generator for a period of time if we needed to and get a standby.
Generators there, so,
Right, we do have a generator, but it has to feed through the panels.
yes.
So we just can't have all the panels live simultaneously.
Yeah.
So there would be a downtime for the electrical panels.
And with Riverview Park, that isn't the end of the world because that's the least flow of any pump station in town.
Do you have any indications on how often the pump cycles down there?
3 to 4 times a day.
3 to 4 times a day.
So,
A day.
So it's,
So that it would, if St. Anne, if we were to take the power out, it would need to be pumped by St. Owens twice a day.
I was gonna say, we can bring the septic pumping service in to come and pump the wet well.
Yep.
Okay. All right, well,
And
I-
just to add,
Go ahead.
this would be a prime opportunity to update the electronics in that building.
well, yeah, that's gonna be part of your next proposal, so we can go over that when we get to your phase of it. I liked what you inputted us for about having the new panels built into a new building. We'd have to have a spec
Yeah.
for where everything has to be located, and if they can build it into the building, that'd be great, and then all we have to do is feed. So, Corey, would you make a list of all the in stuff that's inside that building for either for Mike or Daniel or for the whole board here?
Yep.
So we know what is actually in that building?
Sure.
So we know what we're up against for logistics?
Yep.
Okay. I'd like to see Riverview Park and as a secondary and East Union as a primary for this push, and we can leave Elm Street pump station as a change order to the upcoming project, and that actually allows us to move on all three simultaneously.
Right.
I think that'd be a good plan if the other commissioners concur.
no disagreement.
Do you have the drawings for, our drawings for Riverview Park?
Yurgo probably has them somewhere.
Okay, I'll send you the PDF. We designed the station. so
Yeah.
we've
Would you
got
send
the
a copy
drawings.
to Lynn so she can make
Yeah.
a hard copy and have it
Yeah,
on file
I'll send it to
at
everybody.
the office?
Yeah.
Don't send one to me, because I don't print that stuff.
Okay.
I'll get it from Lynn when,
He can
you can
send
send
it
it to me, I just won't do anything with it. If I'm on your email chain, go ahead.
That should make your life easier. 'cause
Yes.
It's all right there.
All right. So Mike, let's go back to our priority, which is the East Union Pump Station. Recommendations on how to proceed?
Yeah, I'll talk to our structural engineer. I think they'd probably want to get a plan together. Again, it's a situation. Do you want to just get proposals from a couple of different contractors locally, or
Well, who
publicly bid it, or
are we involving? We're involving a flat roof contractor.
yeah,
We're
there's some
involving a
roofing.
masonry contractor.
Yeah,
What else? What other contractors are we involving? Just those two primaries?
that would be the primary ones. Yeah.
Okay. I think we need to get the roof squared away well, actually, we probably need to get the masonry work done first, so that when you put a roof on it, nothing moves when the roof gets put on, honestly.
Yeah, and for something like that, you probably don't need anything much for plans or specs or anything. I'm sure that, a roofing contractor could look at it and give you a proposal
Right.
for it. So you could just get 3 proposals from roofing contractors if you wanted to do it that way.
What about the request for proposals from masonry contract? We have to identify the areas that they have to make repairs to.
Yeah, the scope would have to be defined so that they have something to price out.
Well, I would like, with the other commission, I'd like to see us move forward with a scope for the masonry to begin.
Yeah,
We need to get that masonry work at least out to bid and get some masonry repairs first. Then we can proceed with getting the roof done, because we will have the underlying structure repaired before we fix the roof.
sure. Yeah.
Agree.
Would like to add?
It would difficult to receive bids because the scope of the work could change as he starts demolition.
It's possible, yeah.
So how would this contract read for bidding?
I think you'd set up, basically it would be call it a base bid portion of the work from what's known. And then you could either request unit prices for additional work.
Right.
Or just have it done time and materials.
I like the idea of a unit prices for the additional work, because then it's cut and dried.
Yeah.
Unless we get the time and material numbers in advance, what's your hourly rates for this, for how many men and crews, and, But if you do unit pricing, then it's on them to provide all services for a unit price.
The only thing with the unit pricing is you may not know everything you're gonna need in advance.
No, we won't know in
If it's
advance. That would
unknowns.
be for the unknowns,
Right,
in my opinion.
yeah.
We could get, a fairly rigid proposal for the knowns, what have been identified, but once they start removing brick and finding maybe the underlying block needs to be repointed or something, who knows what the
Yeah.
case may be. So, I just would like to see us put this one in gear and try to get this repaired before the winter gets here. That's what I'm hoping for. I don't know if we can get contractors or not, but we can make the effort on our part to get it bid at least, and maybe we can get a contractor to do it for us.
Okay.
Phase 2 then is reconstruction of the roof. What's the scope of that work? What's going to be required so that entire roof now drains towards the existing drain pipes?
I think there's, I think we addressed that.
I think you addressed it, it's in the
Maybe I
writing.
missed it, so
They're gonna have
help
to
me.
It's on
repitch it.
page 2 of
Yeah.
7.
I thought we did.
Talks about the exterior mounted roof drains around the perimeter of the original building.
Right
So
now,
what's,
it's just-
what's being removed in the existing roof in order to rebuild it so it properly slopes?
all the rubber roofing and everything that's on top of the concrete now.
Right.
And they're gonna have to basically use, like the structural engineers, when we're looking at it, basically take foam and reshape the roof with foam first
Okay.
to direct the water to
The
the
scuppers.
downspouts,
Okay, so you,
instead of
You've
running
explained it.
over the front window.
thank you. I was inquiring about how.
Because
they
now it doesn't,
reshape it.
legitimately, the water does not go to any of them.
Right. Is that due to settlement or structural deficiencies? What's going on?
It looks to me like it is due to slapping a rubber roof on and throwing some downspouts on and walking away.
Okay. All right, well, I think that, I think we should get the masonry portion underway as a primary concern. And then if we can get that done this season, we can certainly follow up with a roofing bid, even if we don't have a masonry contractor immediately, but at least we could maybe stack them before winter gets here. But if we can't find one, we're not gonna fix the other right away. We'll have to just live with it. It's been bad this long.
Yeah, I'll talk to our structural engineers, but with something like this, it may almost make more sense to just talk to, a couple of local contractors, have them take a look at it, and, give you their thoughts on what's needed and what the scope would be.
Most of them
And
don't
come up
wanna-
with at least maybe a basic, rough
Most of them-
budgetary cost.
Most of them
of
don't
it.
wanna do that for nothing, honestly
Yeah.
speaking. They're all busy.
Yeah.
If they're gonna go out and give us a
That
price
can
to
be,
fix
yeah, that could be an issue, yeah.
So I would like to ask for bids from contractors and let them just give us the bids. I don't wanna bring them out and have them giving us input. I think your job is to give us the input with Corey, come up with a plan, and then we will ask for bids for the work to be done.
Yeah, let me talk to our structural
Okay.
guys, and I'll send you an email.
Okay. Good. Here's your phone, Dave. Okay, so if anybody else have any other questions for Mike regarding his structural evaluations for East Union, Elm, and Riverview Park at this point? I would like to, Corey's gonna get together some information for you on what needs to be moved inside Riverview Park. And
I'll send you the drawings
Okay.
first.
and hopefully we can lean on Daniel to get some input on some contractors who could build a building for us and what your recommendations might be. And hopefully we can have something for our next meeting that we'll have a substantive discussion on what we're gonna do. Quite honestly, this whole transition with Mike Walton and Mike Yurgo leaving us kind of really put the brakes on everything, and we're just playing catch-up right now, so now that we're making progress, I'd like to double down on progress and just keep pushing. If we don't get there, I understand, but I'd like to double down on progress, and that means Phase 2 on Louis Street. We'd like to get the preliminary work get going before the bad weather hits or something, so that maybe we can have a bid document ready for the first of the year. And we still have to negotiate with Public Works on phase 2. So Corey and I will liaison with you to Public Works on how we're gonna work that out.
Yeah, just so you know, the way the bid documents are set up for the Lewis Street sewer replacement, there's a base bid portion, which is about 600 feet. So that's a separate bid schedule, and it's designated as base bid portion. Then there's an additive option, which is the remaining 600 feet to finish it. And that's a separate bid schedule. So when you get the bids next month for this, you will have unit prices for all the items for both parts of the work.
Great.
And then at that point, depending on, funding and other considerations, you could make a decision, as to whether you want to, proceed with all or some part of the additive option.
Well, we're gonna have to loop Public Works in on phase 2 because there's gonna be some cost sharing that we discussed with them, which means there's gonna be some drainage work that our contractor will be required to complete, so is that part of the unit pricing that you included, Mike? Or is that?
We've got drainage in there.
You
Yeah.
do have some drainage in there.
Yeah, so you'll have pricing from that. So the question would just be who's paying for it, whether it's sewer
And-
commission or Public Works or whatever.
Just very briefly, when you put that out to unit pricing, is it unit pricing based on depth in the ground? It's X amount for 3 feet in the ground, X amount for 4 feet in the ground, X amount for 5 feet? in the
No,
ground?
we didn't set it up that way.
Does that matter when we're asking for pricing?
Not, if everything's,
It's fairly shallow
less-
on that
Yeah,
end,
if
as I
everything's
remember.
less than 10 or 12 feet deep.
Oh, it's way less than that.
Yeah, it's really not gonna make much
Okay, good.
difference.
All right, just want to make
So,
sure that wasn't going to be
yeah.
a fly in the ointment.
Yeah, no, I don't think so.
Okay, good. So let's see how this things work out with the first round of bidding, and we'll have more answers at the next monthly meeting.
Sure.
When's the bids opening?
August 4th.
And our meeting is after that.
Right,
That'll work out good.
yes.
Good. Okay, anything else for Mike on Louis Street, Elm Street Pump Station, or these other projects?
Just for the bid opening, if you want to participate in that, we can set that up
Actually,
as like a Zoom meeting or a Teams meeting.
haven't you in the past opened the bids with the contractors, and is that how it's gone, or have we opened them here? Does anybody know?
If we
Well,
put
this
the
is-
bid out, we open it, they come in here and we open it in front of them.
Okay.
But this is being done
But-
online, so it's
yeah.
different.
Well, then I think you're gonna get all the online information and pass it along to us. You certainly could pass on a recommendation at
Yeah.
the same time, based on prior experience
Yeah.
working with the contractors.
Yeah.
And we also have our own prior experience, so we can input on our side.
Sure, yeah.
So the goal is to be able to sign a contract at our next meeting in August?
If we're lucky.
Okay, That's our intent then.
Do you specify, beginning dates if a contract is signed? Do they have to start within a certain time frame?
No, it's not part of the documents right now, so we'd have to talk to whoever the successful bidder is about schedule and come to some agreement on a start date. And then we would issue a document called a notice to proceed, which would have an official start date that would start the clock for, ticking.
And then we have completion dates too, because after a certain time, we don't want them paving in the road either.
Right.
Okay, well, there's one thing that I didn't mention yet, because I forgot to mention it. I went down there with Corey and Adam from DPW, our DPW director, and Eric, the engineering tech, and we walked up and down that road looking at this cost-sharing issue. The lion's share of this sewer project is going to be on the edge of the road and in people's front yards. There's a lot of landscaping, there's a lot of ornamental trees, there's a lot going on down there. I would like to suggest, outside of the contractor being required to do anything, that we authorize some sort of a video survey of the entire first 600-foot section and put it on a DVD for the sewer commission, for a record of what the conditions are before they set foot on down there, because if someone's wall doesn't get built back to their satisfaction, or the tree isn't transplanted or replaced, I'd like to have a video record of pre-construction conditions, so we have a leg to stand on when it comes time to.
I did that last year, actually.
You did?
For the,
And what did you do it with? Your phone?
yep, just with my phone and put it right in the street folder. Just
All right.
record it, and I can just plug my phone into our computer and I download it.
All right, well, I guess we can ask Corey to take care of that, but I would like to have a photographic record of the site prior to any contractor setting foot down there.
I think, I'm pretty sure when SUR came in, they did the same thing.
Of course they did, because they
Yep.
want to protect themselves.
Mhm.
But this is more about us protecting us,
Yep.
in my opinion. Because, oh, well, we lost a video, we don't have it, you know, my phone fell in the
It
sewer
just takes
manhole
care
and
of a
got
lot of
wet, and I don't have
arguments
the
that
video
are
anymore.
Gonna come
I don't
out.
want to hear that. Okay. So that takes care of that, thank you, Paul. The next item on our agenda is the Shaw's Plaza user fee. There's a letter here that Lynn prepared that she's asked me to sign. Could you please explain what's going on, Lynn?
So what happened when Mike and Corey were down there looking at the new places that were going in and figuring out what the user fee should be? We noticed that there was an error that was made back in 2018 when Mike gave us his spreadsheet. What happened is he showed the current charges and then he showed what should be added, but it was per a quarter, not the billing cycle. So we reused it and added it to just twice a year instead of 4 times a year, because it was quarterly, and we thought it was bi-yearly in his spreadsheet. So we did not add enough money. It actually brought his fee down, so he has not been paying enough for the last 3 years.
Is this the one that we gave the payment plan to?
Yes.
And the Shaw's Plaza ownership has been making these payments since.
He
they've
has been
closed.
making them on time. Every time I send an invoice, he sends them, and they've been paying their user fees on time.
Okay, so, could you just explain the letter then, the intent of the letter?
So the intent of the letter is, and I don't know if you want me to send this letter now, or
I
if
want
you
you to
want
go
me
over-
to
let's go
wait.
over-
Go with the letter.
So
Go over the
what I
letter.
have, so the purpose of this letter is to inform you of an error in your biannual sewer charge. We made an error in 2018 when Mikado Hibachi and Asian Bistro went into the plaza. And when we did this, it actually decreased their annual billing, and it really should have been an increase. So the original charge was $5,300 twice a year. And it should have increased by $4,100, resulting in a biannual charge of $9,400 twice a year. And we've only been charging them half of that twice a year.
Okay, before you go any farther, what does our agreement with them state?
This has nothing to do with user fees. Our agreement is the accessibility fee.
Accessibility fee. Okay,
Right.
so go ahead, thank you.
So we have been charging them half of what, because we were using the quarterly amount instead of biannual amount.
And this place is still closed right now.
Well,
This is for the whole plaza.
Oh, this is the
But
whole
yeah,
plaza?
This is the whole
Well,
plaza.
that doesn't sound like the whole plaza, it sounds like one business is what we're talking about.
No, it's the entire property.
it sounds like when they added the new business, which is currently closed,
Right,
their payment changed
right.
So you need
by
to be,
error.
I think the letter needs to make it more clear, this is for the total plaza charges.
Well, it says, we made an error when went into the plaza.
Yeah, that sounds like one business.
Well, they only have one bill. They don't,
Still, nevertheless,
Okay,
please, just
I will- yep.
make it clear.
I will
An
try
error-
to-
An error in the total bill for the plaza
Okay.
because such and such went into the plaza.
Thank you for that
Okay.
correct. So, we will not be charging you retroactively since it was an error. The change will be implemented July 1st, 21, reflecting the invoice. So if any other changes to the letter that anybody would like to make?
Do I have this in front of me?
Do we have a copy?
It was in our packet
It
on
was
the
the
bottom.
last, it was the bottom one.
Oh.
Sorry, thank you.
It's okay.
Sorry.
Find it. It was on the pile. It was a loose sheet.
It looks like this. I have another one if you don't have the copy.
Maybe he didn't get one.
Do we have a copy of what we informed them back in, when the change was made?
We did, that was all with Mike and the plaza. He never sent me anything in writing for that specific.
But Mike did send you a document that was misinterpreted.
Right, with
Well-
with every
So if they
service
have any
in town.
questions, you can
Yeah.
produce that document.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a
and-
spreadsheet.
And we should have something in the file showing how he calculated their user fee as well.
I don't
It's all
think-
broken down, just like that.
Okay.
Anytime anything gets added, it's all broken down.
Okay.
And it will, the reason I was asking, should this letter be sent out now, is because with Domino's going in and the brew pub going in, it's going to increase again.
I think he needs to know about this first.
Okay,
Well, he already if he actually paid attention to the permits he signed, he should have caught on those permits has the correct treatment units on it.
Well, let's make sure that this letter goes out so that when things change.
and,
You said give us a call if you wish to discuss further. We can also invite him to the meeting if he has any issues with it as well.
okay, you're also,
Yep, that was gonna be my suggestion. He can come in here.
he's,
Yeah.
And
Please.
it probably won't be the owner who shows up because he doesn't speak English,
The owner of the plaza?
does not speak a lick
Well,
of
then he can
English.
send his
But
lawyer.
a
So you-
representative.
If you deal with a representative.
That's fine.
welcome to attend a meeting or send a representative.
I'm confused, which plaza is this?
Got
It's the
up
old
Shaw's.
Shaw's Plaza.
Oh, you're not,
Trampoline.
you're
Do
new to
you mean
the
Fun
town.
City Plaza?
Yes.
Because there's no Shaw's there.
It's still Shaw's Plaza.
It's all-
Just like the lady up the house from me is Mrs. Hayes' house. She's been dead for 25 years.
So I always call it Fun City Plaza now.
Okay, well,
I moved here after Shaw's had already left,
Sure.
and I still, everybody calls it Shaw's, so that's what I call it. So,
see that? He,
And Lynn, in that paragraph I'm pointing at, the change will be implemented beginning 1 July.
Yeah.
I'd like to once again make it more than clear that the biennial charge of $9,400 will be implemented on 1 July.
Okay.
I agree.
Annual.
Dave will show you his copy so you can make sure you got it exactly as he's stating.
Well, I'm gonna
So-
change this and I'll send it out to all of you to look at before I
Good.
do anything.
Good.
Lynn,
What about-
does that include the two most recent increases?
No.
So that might need to,
And that's why I put in here,
Good.
please
Thank
note
you.
that any new businesses in the plaza may result in an additional fee.
because that went up 6 treatment units.
so
So we
technically,
can just be up-
nothing's changing.
No,
We're
but
just
he's getting-
billing the correct amount.
Right, we
Yes.
have,
So
right,
it's not really a change because he already agreed to the treatment units back when. He just didn't point out that we weren't billing him enough.
No, I wouldn't either.
Right, I know, that's fine.
yeah.
I'll take free
Okay,
sewer.
Yeah.
So, just one quick thing. $9,400 is not an accurate number going forward as of right now. So whatever that
Correct.
number is the one that we should be putting in there.
Yes.
Okay.
No, no,
Well,
No, it
Well-
the businesses are not in there yet. The
They're
trampoline,
not?
the
No.
brew pub is not, or Domino's, they're not in there yet.
They're in their building phase.
They're in their building phase.
Oh, okay, all right, that's fine.
So
Sorry,
that's
thought
why
you were
I
saying they're
said-
already in there.
Any new businesses may result in an additional fee.
Maybe you should
Keep that.
specify the Domino's and the brew pub. Instead of new businesces, make sure you
Okay.
state those two business names.
Because that is gonna
For
increase.
example,
So I'll
their
say,
yearly
I'll say
charge.
once,
Don't even
once,
say that, including, when you say any new businesses, where's the,
such as,
including the Domino's and
Mountain-based brewing.
mountain-based brewing.
Yeah, that's good.
I mean, the clearer you are, the better we can be, even if it makes another 5 lines in the letter.
will result in an additional fee instead of may then.
Will result, there's no
Will.
may,
And just,
like should and shall.
Base brewery.
You do the rough draft, send it to everybody, including Selectman Bowen, and that way everyone will have an opportunity to look at it and mark it up and return it to you.
I can do that.
That'd be great. Okay, any more information on, discussion on the letter? Good. I asked Lynn to put outdoor seating on the agenda tonight because we have had a long discussion about outdoor seating. It began when Ollie's applied for outdoor seating at the planning board. They wanted to increase their outdoor seating through the building department and the planning office, and it came to light that outdoor seating would result in additional use charges and an accessibility fee. After discussing with our former engineering tech, Mike Yurgo, there is not a single business in town that pays for outdoor seating for sewerage additional fees. So I was very proactive in just saying that we don't need to charge Ollie's an accessibility fee since no one else has paid one. As a matter of fact, I would see the commission not ever charging the accessibility fee for temporary outdoor seating because it really doesn't amount to that much. If they pay the additional use charges, I think we should be business friendly and allow businesses to have outdoor seating. However, no one's going to get a free ride if this commission votes to have our secretary send letters out with sewer bills that beginning on, and then we'll specify a date that we would begin an assessment for outdoor seating additional sewerage. We've discussed this at a prior meeting and we had some language, and I think Lynn seems to have it highlighted for us too.
I put, we agreed to charge an additional fee for a period of 3 months. The charge would be a half treatment unit charged in the service period of July 1st through December 31st only. So the charge for the first half of the year would remain the same. And then we said restaurants with existing outdoor seating will be charged the new user fee only. Restaurants that do not currently have outdoor seating would be charged an accessibility fee and a user fee.
We can vote to amend that decision.
We never really voted on that. We discussed it, but there's no motion
Okay.
to,
Well, let's start with the accessibility fee. I'd like to get input from the other commissioners on whether we were going to ask for accessibility fees for outdoor seating or not. And I'll start with the vice chair, Dave.
There's two aspects. One is for all the existing restaurants.
Mhm.
And the second issue is for future restaurants.
Right.
Are we being, I haven't thought it through. My gut feels we're not being fair with capturing a use that we've been ignoring year after year after year.
Okay, could you say that a little more succinctly so I know exactly what you're saying?
What
do you mean by capturing a use?
I'm uncomfortable with applying a fee for a use that's been in common practice for several years, and we are now about to say, well, we've just realized we have an opportunity to charge more fees, and we're applying a set of rules that pick up certain restaurants.
Well, we used to do it, we always calculated treatment units based on seating in a restaurant. So if a restaurant has 75 indoor seats and they add 15 or 20 outdoor seats, we charged Putnam's when they expanded their dining room for additional seats.
That was inside seating.
That's correct. Now, if we're going to talk about outdoor seating, they still require sewerage water because they have to wash all the dishes, prepare the meals. Everything is still wastewater going down the drain and going into the system.
And it gives them more capacity.
So they have more people. So either we're going to be congenial and not recover the additional shares, or we are going to apply it evenly across the board to everyone. So that, I guess that, and we understand what you're saying. So if you have anything else to add before I ask Daniel's opinion.
But I think we just have to, well, we would have to be careful on how we express that we're reassessing the capacity of all the restaurants, and how that reassessment is being done.
What's going to happen when someone comes in and they have a complete outdoor facility with 60 tables?
so
That's going to be a new application?
Don't don't the users state what their seating capacity is?
Yes, but not when it comes to additional outdoor seating.
Do we ask our customers to re-verify
No,
what their indoor and potentially outdoor seasonal seating is?
we have not asked anyone to re-verify
So
any indoor
how do
seating.
we-
that- no,
So
that
how
I
do
know.
we assess temporary, seasonal outdoor seating? Who
We
who
would-
actually determines?
We would ask them for a declaration of how many seats they intend to have outdoors.
Can I just say,
Wait.
based on what we said in here, we weren't even gonna count the number of seats. We were just charging everybody a half a treatment unit.
Okay, Daniel?
So prior to this, when a new restaurant set up shop or
We
whatever.
haven't had it.
We haven't had any, so. So there's been no one who's come to us.
Yeah, Ollie's did. They came to us, they came to the planning board 2 years ago,
Mhm.
before COVID, and wanted to create outdoor seating. It triggered the planning board, it triggered the building department, it triggered the sewer department, and Mike Yurgo came to us and said, we need to charge them an accessibility fee, because they're adding tables and adding flowage, and we have to charge them a monthly use charge for the flowage on a prorated amount for the summer.
And then our existing restaurants that had added outdoor seating
Got away with it, no
just
one
have
ever.
been getting away,
We've been giving it away, been giving the farm away since day one.
when they should have been coming to us, when they
Well,
decided to add.
There was an
that.
opportunity to,
They did
And,
not, they didn't come to us though. No one
Right.
came to us.
For, in the assessor's office, do they take that into account?
The assessors are not linked to us, and we don't
We
normally check
You
with
have
them.
their data or?
We've never, that I've known, we've.
I don't believe he goes by seating or any of that. He's assessing the property.
Yeah.
It doesn't
He's
matter.
assessing
what-
buildings.
Yeah.
But they don't have do they,
The fire department
Or the
is
fire
the one that
Counts.
does the
Occupancy.
occupancy.
yeah.
So, I've stated I think we should charge, David has stated he does not think we should charge. Where are you? You're the breaking vote.
don't put any pressure.
No pressure on you. The tiebreaker. We don't have to decide tonight. This was a discussion to break the ice and begin the discussion, in my opinion.
So, moving forwards, you could put the businesses on notice that they're no longer abiding by what they came to us originally.
No, they never came to us with anything. This is all grandfathered, pre-existing, no discussions, no tables, no nothing. We just have noticed that we have a lot of outdoor seating, we have a lot of extra wastewater going down the pipes, so we should, in all fairness, discuss whether we're going to continue to allow that as a business-friendly movement, or if we are going to enforce our regulations, which say our restaurants are based on table count for treatment units.
Right, so when a restaurant changes their table count.
They don't tell us.
Exactly, I know. So that means they should have told us,
I guess they should have.
right?
I suppose so.
Because they changed their how they operate their business.
I suppose that's a fair statement, yes. We don't have to decide tonight. We just, everybody has time
Yeah,
to mull it over and digest it.
I need time to process this, because I'm concerned about how we would implement this additional billing. We have to have all the steps in the process well thought out as to how we're approaching it, how we're gathering information, how we handle the restaurants not happy and they're coming before us asking for a waiver or relaxation.
How much is half a treatment unit gonna cost for one billing cycle? Do you have that number?
Yeah, well, it would be 100 for half treatment, but the charge would be a half treatment unit charged in the service period of July, so it would only be $100,
So it'd be $100 additional fee
just once
once
a
a
year.
billing cycle to have all the outdoor tables they want.
So, okay.
And that's a 3-month, we're allowing a 3-month period. where it could end up being 5 months.
If
Or
the
6
weather
months.
supports it, May to October, really.
We only
Think about it.
discussed this proposal because it fit into the billing software that they could add a treatment unit and not have to rewrite the whole software program for our billing program. So
So
this is,
our customers would have to acknowledge that they have, we asked them, do you have outdoor seating? They say yes, and therefore, once they say yes, then they are aware we're going to add a half treatment unit for the use.
we could preface this whole discussion with a letter that goes out in the tax bill that states that the sewer commissioners are considering assessing outdoor dining in an upcoming billing cycle. Anyone who would like to have public comment on that issue could come to our commissioners' meeting and make public comment. At least we would be able to break the news slowly and be able to provide dialogue with customers if they chose to come into the meeting and talk about it. And we could show them what the cost would possibly be and why we're doing it.
Clarify what you meant by sending a notice out in tax bills. You're
You could-
talking about just the restaurants?
You could send a letter to the restaurants
Okay.
with their tax bill.
When you said that, Mr.
I don't-
Chairman,
I don't
was
mean-
thinking about all 6,000 tax bills.
How many
No.
potential
Well, you do have a
customers would be
patio and you have
impacted
some
by this?
chairs on your patio, Dave.
We don't have a lot of
There's not a
restaurants.
lot. There's
in
at least
town.
probably half a dozen.
Then once they if we ask them for a declaratory statement on how many tables they're gonna have outside, then our sewer foreman could actually go and check their information and see if it fits. Because we're not gonna actually count tables as we stated, we're just gonna make a lump sum
fee,
addition. So they could have 2 tables like Fixters has, or they could have 8 tables like Putnam's has, and not to pick on any restaurants in town, just they're the 2 ones that come to mind.
This would be a change only in the use fee.
Right, and you
On the
guys
billing.
have to, right, and then you have to, what you talked about last time was an accessibility fee. You're gonna grandfather the people that already have it, and then any restaurants in the future would be charged the accessibility fee.
We could do that. Or we could be generous and just make it a blanket statement that for summer months only, we're just gonna allow extra use for extra charge and not require accessibility. And
Okay.
That's more fair.
Now,
Yeah.
so it's been a weird year. They operated outdoors all winter. What if they decide they like that business?
who operated outdoors all winter?
The trestle, and they had,
Not really,
No.
though.
No.
They drank outdoors a
So as
little
you
bit.
know, Daniel, when COVID hit, the sewer commission voted to provide a sewer abatement for up to 3 months for any business that requested, because they were deemed non-essential and they had to close.
Yeah.
And we had like 14 applicants come in and request a abatement of that 6-month period, and we granted everyone that asked for it.
yeah, and I'm not, that's.
So we are business, we're
I'm
trying
not,
to be business
oh,
friendly.
I get that, I'm just saying, you mentioned it's like a 3-month thing, but was it you or something, if a new business comes in or an existing business decides to operate
We'll have to discuss that at this point, because
an outdoor seating area
we haven't made
year
it,
round.
we haven't made it, an outdoor, that would be a totally different animal.
Yeah.
Do we have to put this in the sewer use ordinance, Mr. Trank? Would we have to include any decisions we make on outdoor dining and 1/2 a treatment unit? Should it be included in our sewer use ordinance?
Yeah, I think if you make a policy change, it should be
I
covered
think
in
so,
the sewer
too.
use ordinance.
I agree.
Yeah.
That's why I asked. So we would have to, and in order to change our sewer use ordinance, do we have to provide public hearings or anything? Does anybody know how that procedure works? Have we done anything recently where we changed our sewer use ordinance?
It was done a few years ago.
Okay.
Yeah,
just so-
there's opportunity for public comment,
Right.
yeah.
All right, well, this is part of our discussion. I would like to keep this discussion going every monthly meeting until we have a consensus and make a decision on this, because I don't want this to lag. I'd like to keep this conversation alive.
Mr. Chair, if I could just.
Please.
So, the way that I would see it, and I'm no surprise to anybody, is we do not charge for outdoor seating either a user fee or an accessibility fee, just period. However, in the spirit of the compromise and the understanding that there is an actual extra use during that time, I would want to take into consideration when we think about the accessibility fee, that some of these outdoor seating times are going to be very fruitful for the businesses and some are going to be not so great. If you look at this last week, no one's eating outside. You can't. So I would certainly, and again, in the spirit of compromise, look at the user fee, which does not seem to break the bank for a lot of places, but the accessibility fee can be a little bit of a shock to the system, especially if we're going to grandfather other businesses in. So that would be, as we continue discussion, that's where I stand. Just wanted to get that into the record.
I think the user fee only establishes groundwork for any future actions the commission may want to take on outdoor dining.
Yeah,
So-
so for a new facility, the accessibility fee is the hard infrastructure of inside seating. And if they have, occasionally they have outside seasonal seating, they'd face a use fee, period.
But,
Yeah,
go ahead, I'm sorry.
I would probably be in favor of that. Once again, it's just how we state it in the regulations and alert our customers already.
When we do write a regulation, which it sounds like we will, I think we should protect ourselves in the regulation by stating something to the effect that if it is purely an outdoor eating venue, then it does not fall under these rules that we've established tonight. Because it's entirely possible someday someone's going to build a tent and have a big chicken fry place that runs 10 months a year, and then we're going to be shooting ourselves in the foot with our own regulation. So I know our wordsmith will carefully review the wording and make sure it gets done correctly when the time comes. Okay. Anything else about outdoor dining? Good. I went to the Board of Selectmen last night. I appeared before the board and I told them about our proposal for the gate. I showed them a picture of the gate, I showed them the proposed signage, I showed them the proposed location of the gate, and I showed them the Google map of where we, did you see all this?
Yeah,
Okay,
well, no,
Okay.
I haven't seen that, but
Where we are gonna strike. I will work with Corey on designating striping areas. I actually feel that that's too much, Corey, where you drew your line. I actually feel that's too much no parking area. I think we should try to designate the areas in front of the gates and in front of the building, but maybe allow some parking to the side where the boulders are. We'll work on that together.
Yeah.
So no parking signs?
Can get through the gates, that's all.
The no parking signs, the only way we can enforce no parking with do not block the driveway tow zone is if the selectmen enact an ordinance regarding allowing us to tow vehicles. So that's a discussion for another time. There was a discussion about putting a sign on the gate that fire department access is required, do not block the gate. I asked the board for input on two other items. One was time restrictions. And it was discussed at the board level that presently the rail trail with Dave's input was dawn to dusk, and the selectmen are apparently looking at producing an ordinance that would put dawn to dusk restrictions on all the waterfronts except for Glen Lake, which was federally funded, and that has to be exempt from the town ordinances. So if the selectmen do put up a time restriction, allow us, we will be able to post a sign that states that the waterfront is for use for dawn to dusk only.
The waterfront already has a town ordinance for parallel parking along the road. It's from 9 o'clock in the morning to dusk. And the reason it's not dawn to dusk, but it's 9 o'clock in the morning to dusk, is because the lake is used by a regional swim club, where they do long-distance swimming at 7 o'clock in the morning.
Oh, they're really not. I go by there at 5:30 and they're out there.
Well, or 5:30. And I was on the board when that ordinance was passed.
Okay.
And that was the reason why it's 9
But
o'clock.
that is Glen Lake only, David, or other lakes in town
That's just what we call the waterfront
at Glen Lake?
at Glen Lake.
And that is exempt from all because that's a
So
federally funded.
the boat parking
Oh, I
is-
understand.
is exempt, but the parallel parking is 9 to dusk.
Okay.
And furthermore, you have to have a town decal.
The fire department will tell us what kind of locks we can install, or whether we're gonna double padlock, or there's a park and rec lock that maybe we can use that they have the key to, David talked about.
Yeah, we
The Park and Rec master key, I have a Park and Rec master
That's
key.
the same locks we use on the pump stations.
And
They're all the same.
I've opened up your facilities with that key.
Well, then I don't know if we ought to pass that out. Okay.
The landfill, every gate in town.
The I requested that the Board of Selectmen authorize an expenditure to provide a porta potty on site. They are going to review that and get back to us on that. We did have request from Collis Adams on the board that we provide an erosion, I did state, the reasons why we wanted to do this was for environmental reasons and safety reasons. So Collis asked for a drawing of what we would do for environmental erosion controls at the site. I told him that you and I would work on it. We would get a drawing together and we would submit it to Sarah Wordy for her professional opinion, and I would present it back to the board within 30 days. So we'll get that done. Collis also stated that we should put signage up that trash in, trash out. If you bring trash to the waterfront, you're responsible to take your own trash away. So do we presently have a barrel down there, Corey?
It's not down there because it's just gonna end up in the river, so
Okay.
it's up against the building. But
All
there
right,
is a barrel
so-
there.
The discussion about the porta potty was the vandalism. So I told them we would probably have it up near the gate where it would be accessible by the pump truck for openers. And there would be a way, we could find a way to secure it to something so that it would remain upright and they wouldn't be able to tip it over, even if we had to chain it to a tree or something.
But that's what we'll have to do because for the sewer project last year on East Union, we had it on East Union Street and they would flip it over every night.
Kidding?
We have,
Every night.
we've dealt with this on job sites for the last 20 years.
It's
I
like
know
kids
what we
do.
need to do and you and I will take care of it.
Yeah.
Same for the trash barrel. We could put a trash barrel at the top of the ramp.
Mhm.
I prefer to have people take their own trash away.
But once you put the barrel there, they'll use it.
So
And
it
with
end
the
up being-
risk that
There are
there's out
some
of
good
town.
people that do use the barrel.
Yeah.
But
Unfortunately, if the sign is there and the trash barrel's obscured, maybe they would take it with them. But I'd rather see it in the barrel and us have to empty the barrel than have it on the ground down there.
I have the trash truck come down every 2 weeks and empty
Okay.
it.
We received a thumbs up not only from the board for our effort, but from the Piscataqua River Association. Andrew Cataret is the chairman of the Riverfront Association, and he thought it was a great idea to manage the river, and same from David Neiman from Conservation. But the resounding statement from all parties was, we do not want to lose access to the river. And I told them that the Sewer Commission was not restricting access, we are just trying to protect the waterfront area. And everybody was in agreement. And I'll ask Chet or David to provide anything that I may have omitted or forgotten to mention, if you were both present.
I think you covered it. You were concise and your rationale made all the sense in the world, so I think we're okay.
I talked to Blue Ribbon today and they're about 6 weeks out.
Okay, good. Well, that'll give us a chance to come up with some signage and some striping, and we will get that erosion control plan first. So I'll arrange to meet you one afternoon, and we'll go down there together. Who said they might have a plan for that place? You?
Yeah, I
A
think-
survey plan?
Yeah, I didn't have time. I was gonna look through the files today and see if there's a survey plan for it.
Okay.
I think there is for when they built the addition.
I'm just looking for a map of the driveway area.
Mhm.
If nothing else, we'll get a tax map. There's
Yeah.
gotta be a tax map for that. If you go see the tax assessor, I'm sure they can print out a map of that parcel for us, and we can mark that up.
Yeah, I have it. I can print it out.
GIS is great, except that none of the lines are real.
Right.
They're all like guesswork. We found that out from surveyors at planning.
Yeah, because you're just,
They don't match. So we don't allow
Doing our best.
GIS for stamped plans.
oh, of course not. Of course not.
Anything else on the gate down at the pump station? Okay. Corey has a document he passed out for all of us. Did you get one of these, David?
Yes.
Okay. Corey's been talking with us about his failing alarms and monitoring systems, and he has got some information together that he's going to present tonight. Corey?
So, in talking with AD Instruments, they're the people that
First of all, preface your statements. What's going on with the alarms and the monitoring?
Okay, to start off with, our alarms, our monitoring, our equipment in all these buildings is past its lifespan. And the funny thing on the assessment that was done on East Union Street Pump Station, I noticed in your email, back in 2015, it actually stated that the equipment in that building was obsolete. In 2015, it was obsolete. And there was a recommendation for it to be changed then. So, I have nothing but problems with I can't say the word, but all the monitoring equipment in East Union Pump Station. It's old. You can't even buy parts for it anymore. The companies that built the stuff, they're gone. You can't fix them. When it's done, it's done. So in trying to be proactive, I'd like to upgrade all the systems in the pump stations to cellular technology, where it doesn't matter if a phone line breaks, all of this equipment will still read, it still sends the signal, nothing can mess with it. And the alarm panels in the buildings are horrible. The way they're set up is terrible. Well, I'll use for an example, Riverview Park, pump number 2, I've had nothing but issues with. It keeps losing prime. Every time it loses prime, that pump will run until it overheats, and it has a thermal switch, and it will finally shut it down before it burns up. That equates to like 3.5 hours of that thing running when it should only run for 3 minutes. So this new system that they have takes all of the alarms in that building, or all of these buildings, and it monitors. It all has, they can set it up so we know how long the pump should run. When it runs over 3 minutes, it immediately sends you to your cell phone, your computer. It alerts you instantly when there's an issue. As far as,
So is that a direct connection, or does that have to go through a monitoring center?
nope, that's direct.
Okay, thank you.
Just like dialing your phone.
Just like it's a dialer, that's exactly what it is. It has a dialer.
It's just another
and
cell phone.
it just sends it right to your phone.
Okay.
Another great thing about this is that it takes real-time data basically, and it cuts out all the charts, all that stuff that you can't get anymore. It gets rid of it.
You said you couldn't get paper, right?
The Riverview Park, I bought the last paper that you can get for that building. It's done. They don't make it. You can't get it. It takes...
It's like Oki Data printer paper with all the holes on the sides.
Yeah. This will save so much time when it comes to the CMOM report, because right now the system is so archaic that we have that all the data that we collect, I manually enter it into Excel, all the data. You
Okay.
sit there for weeks and you just type in numbers. This system is set up where every night at midnight it sends your daily totals. It sends you every minute that pump ran, all the time it was off, and it puts it in to Excel. It shoots it right in there,
Okay.
and it actually...
Your sales pitch is good. You don't need to pitch it.
I'll keep going.
Sales
I don't
pitch
care.
is good.
But on the other hand, to replace all that stuff and to upgrade everything, it's not cheap.
Well, money is not the object when it comes to efficiency and avoiding troubles. We want to make sure that this works and it also has a long-term benefit. So how many pump stations are you talking, Corey?
I've been thinking about this. The two that need to be done ASAP are the Manchester metering station.
I think it's an all or nothing
It's
event.
all of them, and
All or nothing event. So how
All.
many numbers is that?
that would be Riverview Park, Moose Club.
Only counting my fingers now?
Well, I'm saying it out loud because I'm thinking.
You count on your fingers and tell me the number when
Moose
you're done.
Club. You would have Elm Street, and then you have
East Union.
East Union, which would have at least 2 in it,
Okay,
but technically it would be 3 because you have 3 different
okay,
monitoring.
3, there you go, 3,
So you'd have 6 in total.
6. And what is your estimate from, is this one manufacturer you're talking with, or are you talking with multiple
This
manufacturers?
is, as far as going through 80 Instruments, which is the only person that's ever touched our stuff, this is what they recommend, and this is what, they basically take care of most of all of New Hampshire and Massachusetts. This
What is Manchester on?
Manchester?
Yeah.
Manchester has their own,
They-
they use a system like this.
So they're compatible.
Yes, everything, the best part about what is, actually it might be 7, take that back, it's 7, because all of the Manchester, all our stuff is separate in there.
I understand that.
We own, like it mirrors what's in East Union Pump Station. Their side has already been updated. They got rid of all their phone lines.
Number, how much?
It is $5,750.10
Per unit?
per unit, and
5,000 what?
$5,750.10.
I think we get the 10 cents off.
And there is a $650 yearly monitoring fee. And that, for the first year, that's included in that
Is that per
$57.50.
unit or for the whole package?
I sent him an email to clarify that.
Okay.
I am not 100% sure.
Okay.
I'm gonna guess that it's for the whole system.
We could do this out of our present budget, can't we? We could expend this funds out of our budget. Do we have money in a line that would allow us to do this out of our budget, Lynn?
Off the top of my head, I don't know, but
Well, I
I'm
think
sure
I-
we
Why
can
don't you
find
and
it,
Corey
yeah.
look in an appropriate account?
So we're talking 5,750 times what? How many?
7.
7?
40,250.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
why don't you and Corey put your heads together and come up with a line or multiple lines that this could be deducted from legitimately, equipment maintenance, repairs,
Yep.
whatever the lines are.
I think in the repair line is $100,000.
So,
Yeah, I think we had a conversation about obsolete equipment when we did this, and we
Yeah.
That's why we bumped
put
it
some
up.
things into certain lines for this reason.
Yeah.
do we need to get competitive pricing, Dave? Or can we go with this, with a specific vendor under any rules that we're allowed, or Chet, I'll ask you as well as the selectman rep.
So, I would love to say we could go to a specific vendor.
But they have proprietary equipment that we want.
Right. So,
Under the,
there's gotta be, I think there's.
the way to do it is you write the RFP so that only this company can meet
They
it.
don't, yeah.
Right.
So if we need to do that, we can do that.
Mhm.
But as far as these other commissioners, how does anybody feel about moving forward with this? Do you want more input, or do you want to authorize the expense and let them work the details out and get back to us? Do you want to wait another 30 days? It's up to the commission. It's a budgetary, I think it's a budgetary thing. We don't have to take any money out of our funds. I think it's all available funds. And that's what the money's there for.
Exactly. And the quicker we can do it, the better, because I'll give you an example. The Manchester meter, it has it's the dumbest thing in the world. It has this little counter. You know, it's just a little
Rolls
dial
over.
that spins, and it's broken.
So that's our sewage flowage to Manchester?
That's the
broken?
sewage flow to Manchester. The chart still works, so I can get information off the chart.
Right.
But something as simple as a stupid little dial.
Have you had any discussions with this company about availability and installation times?
Not really. It's available. He can get it. That's not an issue.
Who installs it?
80 Instruments.
So they're a dealer of these units.
Yep.
And they're the local.
Yep,
They're the
and they actually set up, I had talked to Lee from the water department, and they actually use a similar system at the water department for all their stuff. And it's amazing, and 80 Instruments are the ones that set all of that up as well.
Can you find out about warranties?
Mhm.
If we need to have servicing done on these, on any kind of a schedule?
I asked that question when 80 Instruments was here the last time, and they've been putting these in for the last 5 or 6 years, and he said he's never had to service one yet.
Okay.
This may be a stupid question, but
There are no
can they
stupid
be-
questions.
well, okay, thanks.
Please.
Can they be one of those state contractors, I mean, if the state uses them, where
If
you
it
don't
was-
need a
if-
bid?
If they're on the state bid list, we don't have to go out for bid.
So I'm wondering, could they be if everybody
Find that out.
uses them?
Sounds like they're prominent around the area.
That's
what I'm
That's a great
wondering.
question.
They're
you.
That
very
was
hard
not
to
a
get
stupid
because
question.
Thank you.
very
they're
much.
one of the very few people that actually do this.
So why don't you contact AD Instruments, get that information for
Yep.
us? And if the commissioners would like to wait until next month, when we have more information, we can make a motion at the next monthly meeting. And that, but you can inform them that we are like on the cusp of doing
Yep.
something to get ready.
Yep.
3 quick questions, if you don't mind. First, and I'm not actually trying to be funny here, you don't plan on leaving us anytime soon, do you?
No.
Okay, so second, this system makes all the sense in the world to you. Okay, that's 2.
Yeah, it's,
And then, I'm.
this is so, this right here is more user-friendly than what's in these buildings.
Sure. Third was, because I always look at this and I think to myself, what kind of damage could be done from any sort of hacking? Have you asked any questions about any history of hacking into these systems when they
I've-
use it everywhere else?
Talk to them, and they have, like,
Zero
all of
issues?
Massachusetts uses this because they got rid of all the copper lines, so they
Sure.
had to go to a system like this, and he
Now-
said they haven't had any issues.
Would we utilize the control feature for anything or just monitoring?
You could, it's all in me sitting down with them and setting the thing up. And because we have to look inside the cabinets, and what's in those cabinets is going to define how far you can take this controller. Because it can send you real-time data.
Yeah.
You literally could use this to turn the pumps on and off
Right.
remotely. But it all depends on if.
Which is what
That's what
he's
I'm scared
getting
of.
at, but you
Right.
don't have to set it up to
You
do
don't
that.
have-
We
and
could, it could just be
Those
implemented
cabinets
as a
might not,
monitoring only.
exactly, it might
Yeah.
not
System.
be,
Yeah.
sustainable because those cabinets are old.
So to follow up on Chet's question about hacking, is there redundancy in the system where you can physically go to locations and pull data out of these equipment without having to go through the internet to do so?
That's a good question.
Good
I
question.
do not know the answer to that.
It'd be good if there was a redundant backup, that even if the internet was compromised and the systems got shut down because of some hack somewhere
Yeah.
else in Russia, that you could at least go there and press a button on these things and pull data off of them
Yeah.
in the short term, if you had to.
Does it keep 30 days of data or
Yeah.
something like that?
I can
My
find
guess,
that
which
out.
is, guesses are worthless right now, my guess would be a company like this would have that in place.
Oh, yeah.
I would say so, but
Yeah,
Yeah, no,
it's
a good
getting
question.
to be the most common theft lately.
Yeah.
They don't even rob banks anymore. They just go on the internet and lock up your company for you. Okay, so I guess the consensus is to be we're gonna wait until the next monthly meeting. If you get the information for us, we'd be ready to rock and roll.
Sounds good.
I'm
And,
favorable.
I'm absolutely favorable.
training costs or,
It's all, it goes with it.
okay.
They come in, I'm with them when they put it in, and me and the guy that installs it will go through the entire thing, and he sets it up. However,
And pretty obviously, if we get a contractor to do Riverview Park building, we would have them sit on
Yeah.
that until the building's
wrap it
completed.
into it. Same thing with Elm Street, actually, if you wanted to
Yeah, the new pump
wrap,
station.
wrap it up into that.
Yep.
And that will kind of drop the,
It will send an alarm to a phone number.
Mike, you
Yep,
can
send it
have
right to
mine.
me.
And you're on,
You can take mine
when
if
you're
you
on
want.
leave, how do you change it over?
Keep it.
We can send it to whatever phone number we want.
So easy. That's the great thing about it, anybody.
I've always heard of Scadia, but never heard of
I'm
this.
not gonna give you my phone
That
number.
basically is.
It's built on that, yeah.
Yeah. But one more thing I just wanted to bring up. So,
Are we on the same subject?
no, different subject.
Okay.
Back in, what was the date on this, Lynn, do you remember?
It's up at the top there.
Oh, March 10th. Remember how White Birch Restaurant came in because they wanted to open a function room and expand their seating?
Is that the one in the green building?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
So, in driving by there every day, it looked like, I'm like, that looks like there's more seats in that place. So I decided to go there for breakfast yesterday.
Good for you.
There's no seats in the function room.
Yes, there is.
Oh, there are now.
Oh,
Oh, you went on a covert mission.
yes, I did. So, they,
He's starting to sound like Mike now.
they,
Go ahead.
they expanded. They opened their function room. They have,
Have they paid their accessibility fee?
they never came back to us. They never said a word.
Well, then I think, Lynn, you need to notify them of what's going on. So have Corey, you work with Lynn, get a letter together and have Lynn send a letter notifying them of what we've observed, and we need to follow up with them
Yep.
immediately.
We already talked about it,
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
just wanted to inform you guys of what was going on. And I talked with Mark about it today as well, because my first call was to Mark to see if anybody pulled a building permit or anything, or anybody pulled permits to work inside the building.
And?
Nothing. Bill Connor went over and checked their facility.
He did do an
He
inspection?
went through and did an inspection.
Okay.
Yeah.
So they didn't have
Oh.
they did have a permit?
No permits.
How do you get into?
How'd he do it?
Because they called him and asked him to come over and do an occupancy.
So they must have come for a life safety permit or whatever, just paid for
But
that.
that's at the building
but-
office.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
they don't, people come in, we don't really
Okay.
know what it's for.
Okay.
It could have been as simple as them making a phone
Yeah.
call to Bill's office and
All right.
saying, can you schedule a time to
All
come
right.
down here?
We're off this now. Unless somebody else has something to say. Okay. Authorization of the warrants. I signed my warrant. Did you sign the warrant?
I'll sign.
We all
Yeah, I
signed the
signed
warrant?
it. Yep.
Okay. CIP meeting is on July 29th at 6 PM. Corey's obviously gonna go. We need a volunteer to go to CIP. I go to budget with Lynn. Somebody here needs to go to CIP with Corey.
What's it?
Basically, you're going in and you're gonna present our plan for the capital improvement plan for the next 7 years. Corey works the sheets out. You're basically the sewer representative that goes along, and Corey can do the talking or
Yeah, just explain your projects and. what you
projects
wanna
and how
do.
much money you wanna spend, and then they plug it into the matrix, and that is it's a function of the planning department, planning board, to create the capital improvement plan, to which they recommend a dollar figure, then the Board of Selectmen reviews it, and the Budget Committee reviews it, and they make changes. Basically, it's a tool, a planning tool for long-term spending, so that you don't have the tax rate going like this every year.
I can attend if you just wanna.
That's fine.
Great, thank you.
I'll
Daniel?
facilitate it.
So it's July 29th,
Yep.
6 o'clock in this room.
And
6
Lynn,
o'clock or 7 o'clock?
6, they changed it from 7 to
Daniel,
6.
Lynn will provide you with all the worksheets you need to have, so that you'll be able to review them and understand them before you get it there and you're tongue-tied
Yep.
in front of the group. Been there. Okay, any other business that is not on the agenda for tonight? Do we have a non-public to talk about tonight, or is that just on the list there?
That's just if
Just
you
on the
have, it
list.
would say it underneath, and there's
Okay.
nothing there.
Any other business for the commission tonight from commissioners? Corey, do you have any other business? Lynn, do you have any business?
I don't think so.
Selectman Bowen? And Mike Trank? I'm good. Dave?
I'm fine.
Daniel? Okay. So a motion to adjourn, please.
Motion to adjourn.
Motion by Dave, seconded by Daniel to adjourn. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? The motion passes. Thank you all for coming. Sorry we took so long.